Now at 11, protests and vigils held across the Portland metro in response to shootings by federal agents.
Understand the pain in order for us to figure out how to work together.
As the fallout continues to grow locally and across the United States against the Trump administration.
It shouldn't be controversial that we don't want this in our communities.
The latest details in both cases as the federal government backs its immigration agenda. Also tonight, how a judge's ruling pushes back on an executive order targeting vote by mail. Thanks so much for joining us here at 11. I'm John Adams. In the wake of the shootings by federal agents both here in Portland and in Minneapolis this week, hundreds of people gathered at several different demonstrations against the Trump administration. Our Jake Holter spoke to protesters today about why they're outraged.
Every day there's something new that is so heavy.
In a week's time, the U.S. captured the Venezuelan president, a woman was shot and killed by a federal agent in Minneapolis, and 2 people identified by DHS as Venezuelan immigrants were shot by federal agents here in Portland.
It really hits home, and you realize how you're not safe.
Rebecca Flaming Martin says she lives 2 miles from where the shooting in Portland took place and says she was out protesting Saturday because she doesn't like the recent moves by the U.S.
I'm very concerned that we are turning into the very kinds of countries we stood up against in prior wars, world wars.
Washington County Commissioner Nafisa Faye also in attendance at the waterfront protest.
Before it was just being kidnapped and taken away. Now people are the fear of being killed is added to that equation.
Faye says she is concerned if she has a run-in with federal agents, how quickly she fears things could escalate.
If I don't turn around and wait for them or follow their unconstitutional command, does that mean they're going to shoot me? That's the interpretation, and that is a dangerous interpretation to facilitate by men who say that they're with the federal law.
Also Saturday, Democratic Congresswoman Maxine Dexter held a town hall in East Portland to hear constituents' concerns.
And my question, I don't know if you have an answer for this, is like, what can we do? Get a whistle, use your phone, sign up for Meagher Watch or with Perk, volunteer, take care of your people.
At one point, Dexter addressed that she would be filing articles of impeachment against Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem.
I had said that I was going to file articles for impeachment of Kristi Noem.
A DHS spokesperson said that the shootings in both Minneapolis and Portland were in self-defense. Jake Holter, KGW News.
On Friday, Portland Police Chief Bob Day confirmed the federal government's claim that the 2 people shot have ties to a Venezuelan transnational gang. Tomorrow, we'll have a crew head down to Salem to hear from Republicans after what's transpired this week. Among the events staged today was a vigil at Terry Shrunk Plaza in downtown Portland. Organizers told us they wanted to offer the community a place to grieve following the shooting here locally, as well as the deadly shooting by an ICE agent in Minneapolis. They also want to send the message that people are coming together to call for change.
All of us are experiencing something right now that is bringing forth a lot of pain. Different lines of impact depending on your identities. Our black and brown siblings are being targeted. Folks are being racially profiled. That's not justice. That's not public safety.
Along with the vigil, one of the group's Latino network was offering support to the children and families of the couple that were shot on Thursday. This was the scene last night outside the ICE facility along the South Waterfront. A few hundred people protesting following Thursday's shootings. Portland police say they arrested one person last night, 39-year-old Andrew Simmons, after he pushed an officer. That makes 80 arrests total since protests have been happening outside this facility in the past year. Attorneys with Innovation Law Lab are asking a federal court to stop ICE agents from making arrests without warrants here in Oregon. Among the plaintiffs is Hillsborough grandfather Victor Cruz, who ICE arrested despite having a work authorization and a pending visa. His family says he was arrested in mid-October in a case of mistaken identity, as federal agents were looking for another man by the same name who had a criminal history. Despite that, Innovation Law Lab claims ICE pressured Cruz to self-deport while he was detained. Stay with KGW for all updates surrounding the Border Patrol shootings and the resulting demonstrations. You can stream us on your time with our free KGW Plus app. Across the nation, there's growing fallout over that deadly shooting involving an ICE officer in Minneapolis earlier this week. NBC's Maggie Vespa reports.
We will not put up with ICE! Protests in cities across the country today, with massive crowds packing Minneapolis, outraged over Wednesday's fatal ICE shooting.
It shouldn't be controversial that we don't want this in our communities.
I feel it is our duty right now when we see murder, and believe your eyes, we see it with our own eyes.
We're talking easily 1,000+ people here. The streets are packed, people here can barely move, and the anger here is palpable.
Overnight, crowds surrounding hotels downtown where ICE officers are believed to be staying. Minneapolis police saying one hotel was damaged with 29 people arrested and one officer injured. And tonight, new surveillance video shows the aftermath of the shooting as Renee Good's SUV crashes into parked cars, her wife running, then collapsing in the snow. Today, DHS releasing this video and saying Good had been following the officers over the course of the morning. The shooting itself caught on multiple cameras, including Jonathan Ross's cell phone, the ICE officer who engaged with Good and fired the deadly shots. The Trump administration has repeatedly said the officer fired in self-defense. Today, Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and other Democrats went to tour the local ICE headquarters, but say they were only briefly admitted before being turned away.
What happened today is a blatant attempt to obstruct members of Congress from doing their oversight duties.
We are better than this. This is not a partisan statement. We are better than this, America.
Well, time to talk our weather here locally. It was a cool and cloudy start to the weekend, but it was also dry out there as well. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri is here to let us know if the forecast is going to be changing over the next few days. Joe?
Here's the deal. I have a question for you. How long do you think this dry stretch is going to last?
I mean, I saw the forecast at earlier tonight. So do you think at least a week, right?
At least a week. In fact, close to a week and a half, believe it or not. Now, with that said, we could see some light rain in a few areas tonight and into tomorrow morning, and again, tomorrow night and Monday morning. But rainfall amounts are going to be very, very light, minuscule. You're not going to notice it. We will be seeing some kind of low visibility down in parts of the valley, especially in parts of the rural area. Hillsborough down to 2.5 miles or so. So there could be some dense fog that develops. But overnight, rain possible. Again, John, like I said, it'll be very light if we even see that materialize. Most of it will be impacting folks over in southwest Washington, along the southwest Washington coast, and along the northern part of the Oregon coast. Next, we're looking at some morning clouds to start things off on your Sunday with a lot of afternoon sunshine. And we also are going to be seeing some new advisories that will be popping up too. That's going to be the air stagnation advisory that will be in place throughout much of the valley tomorrow. But we have a ridge of high pressure in place that will be moving through here the next few days. So it's not going to be feeling and looking much like January that we're so accustomed to. No cold temperatures and no wintry precipitation here in the valley or in the Oregon Cascades. I'll talk more about your detailed forecast a few minutes from now.
All right, Joe, thank you. That'll be a nice treat here in the second week of 2026. All right, new info tonight over an assault at a hospital that took place on Friday. Police now have a suspect in custody who may have caused an EMT to overdose. It happened sometime before 3 Friday afternoon at Kaiser Permanente Sunnyside Medical Center. The sheriff's office says a woman visiting a patient got violent with 2 EMTs, hitting one with a bag containing a white powder. One began suffering overdose symptoms, and initial testing show it could have been a controlled substance. The suspect, 57-year-old Tracy Davidson, left before first responders got on scene. She was arrested after returning to the building this morning. No one else was hurt. Investigators are looking into what caused a fire at an apartment complex earlier this morning in Clackamas County. It happened around 3:30 near Southwest Murray Boulevard and Farmington Road in Beaverton. Check that, Washington County. They found fire coming from a second-floor unit. Everyone was able to get out safely, but 2 cats were found dead and 2 people have been displaced. On Friday, a judge blocked most of a Trump administration order that would have tightened voter requirements nationwide, a move critics say could have disrupted vote-by-mail systems in Oregon and Washington. Corey Johnson breaks down that ruling.
The federal judge in this case ruled the president overstepped his authority. The order would have required proof of U.S. citizenship to vote and that all mail ballots arrive by Election Day, changes that could have significantly impacted vote by mail in both Oregon and Washington. Now, the judge's ruling comes after both states sued, arguing the order could disenfranchise tens of thousands of voters. The court says the Constitution gives Congress and the states, not the president, the authority to regulate federal elections. But late last year, the president pushed to end vote by mail, citing concerns about cost and election integrity. Around that same time, Oregon officials pushed back.
We're going to end mail-in voting. It's a fraud. You know that we're the only country in the world, I believe, I may be wrong, but just about the only country in the world that uses it.
He's wrong. Voting by mail in Oregon, which is, by the way, done with paper ballots, is less expensive than votes that require someone to show up at a specific place at a specific time.
Now, the judge also noted that voting by non-citizens is rare and already illegal, and said states could not be threatened with the loss of federal funding for refusing to comply with the order. For right now, that ruling keeps Oregon and Washington's vote by mail systems unchanged. Back to you.